I'd like to find the road we roamed together, swinging along, finding the long way home. We didn't mind the time or place or weather, singing a song, finding the long way home. Remember, I used to sigh at the end of each day, dear.
What is happening, house lovers and explorers? Welcome back to another video, and today we are taking a look at an old Edwardian style villa that was situated in Stepney here in Adelaide, South Australia. And this old stone and brick gem has an interesting history, which you will find out about very shortly. And local Adelaide folk may have recognised some of the opening shots, showing the Otto Timber signs on McGill Road and Ann Street. Otto Timber & Co. was founded by Ben Otto in 1918 here in Stepney, where it grew via 3 generations into one of Adelaide's leading and most respected timber merchants. So this video will be the first of 3 which will cover this location, and a more in-depth look at the Otto history will be in the second episode, which will cover the factory section. As their timber business was growing through the decades, many surrounding homes to the original timber mill were purchased to expand the site, and 2 of those homes were actually incorporated into the larger factory when it was built. Several others were purchased but not directly part of the factory, and the old home in this video is one of them. Now, I remember seeing this rustic and enticing old home for the first time in 2020, driving down Ann Street to a different location. And straight away I was intrigued by it, so I stopped off to take some photos. It had all the signs of being vacant, but it was mysterious enough to make me think that perhaps there is a chance that an old occupant may be still living in there. But some research soon showed after that the home was part of Otto Timber & Co. and was scheduled for rezoning to accommodate medium to high density housing along with the rest of the Otto site. Over a year would pass when the land was then sold to the developers and the demolitions were then scheduled. I was able to film the place twice, once before the salvage process and once during it. I was able to get a lot of footage of this entire site over the following year, showing the progression of demolition. But for now, let's take a look at this old villa's history and timeline up until its final days. So let's go back all the way to 1875, where Mr. Thomas Candy can be seen listed in the directories as a butcher from Paynham. 7 years later, in 1881, he appears listed in the nearby suburb of Stepney. 2 of his brothers were also butchers, and they were both down south in Noarlunga and Maiponga. Now, these old land titles show that Thomas owned 4 plots of land on the left side of Ann Street, just off McGill Road. And I have marked this area here on an aerial survey image from 1935. and I struck gold on the historical aerial photography site when I found this photo from 1992, looking west over Norwood, and luckily most of Stepney as well. And as we zoom in closer, we head directly toward the Otto Timber site that adjoins both Anne and Wells Street. And the reason I say I struck gold is because this image shows both the home that we are exploring today and Thomas Candy's old home that was actually demolished in 1996, 11 years before Google Images started capturing the streetscapes. Thomas's home was the one on the right, and when I first stumbled upon the old one on the left, I could tell there used to be other homes either side of it, as looking back through the Google Street images, the old wooden picket fences are still there as a reminder. And the one on the left was actually still there right up until the whole place was demolished. The homes either side were both older than this one, as you will see me explain soon, but these Google images really show the intriguing scene of what would have been these three old dwellings together. There's a lot more shrubs and trees in front of them in the earlier Google images, 2009 and 13. And as the years go by, they get removed. And Thomas's old wooden fence gets replaced also. Even though this aerial photo zooms right into the homes, it doesn't really give the clearest or best look at the exact style. But you can tell the roof is different to our later Edwardian villa. With that said, Thomas's name first appeared here in the directories in 1882, so this may be when the old home was actually first built. Thomas Candy and his wife Harriet lived here until Harriet passed away in 1896, aged 76. And without his wife, only 5 months later, Thomas sold up 3 of the 4 plots of land, including the one with his home on it, to Mr. Albert Nutter, and he was a tram driver. The following year he sold the final plot of land, and by now he was living out his final years in Rosewater, and he passed away only a year later in 1898, aged 70. Okay, so now Albert Nutter appears in the directories in 1897 at this address, which was formerly Thomas Candy's home. Albert married Ellen Critchley a year later in 1898. In 1912, street numbers started appearing in the directories, with their home being number 6 as it was third back from McGill Road. Now I should mention that out of the 4 lots that Thomas Candy purchased, there was only 2 dwellings on them. One being the home he was living in, and another one which was actually a duplex. And this leads me to when our Edwardian Villa was built. And as you can see here in 1914, Albert was still at number 6 Ann Street. Then a year later, a new name of G.E. Wallace is listed at number 6, while Albert is now at number 8. This tells us that he and Ellen decided to build a home on the left side lot, which is our home in today's video. I felt it was necessary to show the lead up to this, as the home does end up with Ellen's brother, as you will see. Albert was a tram driver, and the first 2 tenants that they rented the new home to were also tram employees. Albert passed away in 1927, aged 62, and this funeral notice also confirming the address at 8 Ann Street. Ellen, his wife, or Mrs. Nutter as the directories show, continues to live on here, and 4 years later her brother James Brown Critchley and wife Ada start renting her Edwardian villa next door at number 6. They all continue living here in each home until Ellen passes away in 1947. In her will, she left her home at number 8 to her sister Jane Critchley. Brother James and his wife Ada continue living next door at number 6. In 1961, Jane passes away and the land title is split, with the old home at number 8 and its adjoining vacant lot being transferred to the Otto family. The Edwardian Villa at number 6 was inherited by her brother James. James lived on for another 5 years in the home when he passed away there in 1966. The home was then passed on to his wife Ada, where she lived out her final 4 years here, passing away in 1970. The first dwelling in this lot to be acquired by the Otto family was the duplex in 1957, and it was also the first to be demolished, making room for car parking, as you can see here. Now, the reason I think this was a duplex is because of the confusing address of the building here, which was also part of the Otto Timber business. This building is currently 2 Ann Street, but it was originally part of 137 to 139 McGill Road, and that was all shop fronts, and it still is. And I'll have more on these old shops in the second video. But a laneway marked as right-of-way in the directories was always indicated before the street numbers of Ann Street started. This to me says that 2 and 4 Ann Street was the duplex home here. The laneway has always remained here and has always been accessible. And the warehouse building we can see here, even in 1935, it does not have chimneys or look residential. And another reason I thought is because there are also other duplex homes on Ann Street, as we can see here. But I guess probably the best way to find out more would be to look through the old rates assessment records. Alrighty, well, the next property that was acquired by the Otto Timber Company was number 8 and the vacant lot next to it. And from my research, it seems to be demolished in 1996, leaving the old Edwardian gem the last one standing. Now, I wish I could say that this old home was full of old furniture and personal items from the Critchley family, but it wasn't, although it did have several old pieces of kit stored in there by the Otto family, as it does seem that's what its last purpose was for. The home was never altered or renovated and still has many of the old features that we love to look at, including in the old kitchen and bathroom. Okay, well, I think that's a good cue to now get into the explore and take a look through this old home. Also out the back, which will include the second visit during the salvage stage. Let's get into it. I hope you all enjoy. What is happening, house lovers and explorers? Okay, we're in to have a look at this beautiful old gem. Although, as expected, she's in rough shape. Now, as you probably saw in the intro, this home was part of the Otto Timber site, which is going to be redeveloped. Would have started life, or would have been built around somewhere between 1900 and 1910, I would think, 1915, and would have been a family home for a long time, and then became part of the timber site. So I'm expecting to see probably things stored in here. It already looks like that's bits and pieces from the timber yard. But I love these old gems. I mean, the facade of this place, just everything about it, just epitomises what Adelaide used to look like back in the day. Now this has got a new floor. Well, not new. It's been huge sheets of chipboard have been laid down. Fireplace is covered up. You can see they did make attempts to fill the gaps at some point. three different colours there. You've got your green, your rose and your blue. But the power supply I did notice was cut on the 10th of August. There's a nice old Federation grill. Now, people have asked me before in the comments, is there a functional purpose for those things? And no, it's purely decorative. Although there are homes built with an actual partition, which kind of prevents warm air easily circulating around the home. But that's decorative. Sometimes natural light is good. What do we have here? Tins, just galvanised tin trays. They look like little bolts, nuts and bolts, drawers or something. There's an old tin. An old drum, what is it? Nightingale grasp, cold water glue. Don't know what that one is. It's very, very dusty. Yeah, they've definitely used this as storage. And again, laid down the chipboard floor. Although the hallway's got the original floorboards there, with remnants of the old lino. I don't think there's going to be too much left. I kind of had hopes that there was going to be a whole heap of old furniture. No, although that thing's very old. I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, it's definitely all workshop related. That's an old scales, is it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's scales. Check it out. That'd be for weighing all sorts of things. Timber, metal. No, might be seized up. Yeah, the ceiling has had a lot of patchwork done to it. Again, chipboard flooring. There's an old bottle. What do we got? Spartan floor gloss. That would have to be in ounces. It's all dried up inside. All the old light switches have been taken. Now that's got a another empty room, but that one had a lock on it. Oh, there's a nice old original pendulum light. There's more of those tins. There's a piece of newspaper. Probably was under the lino or something. See if we can see a date. Nope. Seen worse, but that's still pretty significant, that one. Yeah, the mantles are long gone in this one. Oh, look at the kitchen. It's got the old corrugated iron cladding. Now from the back, you can tell there used to be a little lean-to that's been removed or demolished. But this is definitely, oh, there's the kitchen, the old stoves there too. Well, there's two old stoves. We'll check in here first. That's the original floor. Wow. This one's even got the old tongue and groove. So yeah, this is the extended lean-to off the original stone cottage. Although, that's an original chimney, and that's yeah, okay, look, they've obviously that's the original wall as well, so this room was definitely an original part. But they just used tongue and groove boarding to use as a partition there, or a wall. Let's check out this old stove. What make is it? It's a Metters. That'll be a number 1. That'll be the first model. It definitely says Metters there. Improved Metters number 1. Yeah, it says number 1 there, I'm pretty sure. N0 looks like a 1 to me, number 1. Now that's a upgrade, but it's still ancient. And what makes that one? That's a Simpson Dudley. That's a gas. Alright, what's this newspaper say? The Adelaide Advertiser, 1962, 23rd of July. It would have probably had some lino laid down in 1962. Check out the old bathtub, guys. Now that's a classic. Hasn't quite got the claw foot, but it's still cast iron, and it's a deep one. Pretty sought after those. This last room must be maybe the laundry or a shower. Or I'm not sure, there's no taps. Maybe it was just a storage. Wow. So we've pretty much seen it, guys. Look at that view. Always love these hallways. Well, unfortunately, we didn't have a treasure trove of old items in here. Pretty much just an empty shell. A very rustic old gem though. I love these homes, no matter whether they're empty, full of stuff, falling apart or restored. It's all part of our history, and this old one won't have a chance at anything beyond what it is now, so glad I got to document it. And there's another home over the other side. I may have mentioned that in an intro already, but obviously we have the timber site over there. Now that area is actually all going to be gutted and converted to living area. But I think they're going to keep the structural integrity the same because of the local significance of the Otto Timber company, and obviously I've put information about that in here. So with that said, guys, I'll move on to the next one, wherever that is, and I'll see you there. Well guys, it reached that point where the old girl is about to be knocked over. I think they've been in here and picked apart a few things, some floorboards, or at least the mezzanine, the new part of the floor. Because I think they've checked the floor and realised she's no good, she's all rotten. This is the kitchen in daylight. They did manage to get out the old cast iron oven, which is good. And they got the clawfoot tub, which is no surprise. And I don't think there was anything else in there. A bin. I think there was a bin sitting in there. And yeah, that was one of the rooms where they had all the replaced flooring. I think they've ripped that up and kept it. Had a quick look around in the dirt there, couldn't see any old tins or anything. The old scales have gone, so they have taken all the things that we looked at, the interesting things. And more door trims and the actual front door, as you saw from the start. Both the cast iron one and the wood one. Nothing really different in there, but that's got the same flooring as the room that they ripped it up. And all those old boxes have gone from in here. And the fences are up around the car park next to it, to that side, to the left. So I'll probably be knocked over in the... It's a shame about that old light. It doesn't look like they're going to save that. But yeah, I think she'll be knocked over in the next week or two. Maybe even this week. So, glad we got a look at it when we did. Right, I forgot about this shed, guys. I was meaning to look in this shed the first time. And it's just a shopping trolley over the back there and not much else, guys. This shed would be as old as the home though, by the look of it. Those shipping containers are gone. I'll show you. It's all fenced off. In case I don't see you again, old girl, goodbye. You've served us well. And rest in peace. Alright guys, see you in the next one. Cheers, bye. Well, that is indeed it, guys and gals. The old house that was no doubt a lovely home for James and Ada Critchley for over 30 years. And although its last few decades were a lonely existence, it's still always a sad sight to see the vacant lot left behind once it's gone. Hope you all enjoyed the history of the old homes that stood here. And as mentioned, there is more to come with this location, including what has replaced this old gem. Thanks for watching. I'll move on to another one and see you all in the next video. Cheers guys, bye.